All right, Jim, everybody. We are live doing a pair programming session building Onchain. We're building some NCAA March Madness brackets using Base as our backend, doing some front end development in React. And today I have guests joining. Got Darian on the phone here on the line, coding it up with me. Welcome, Darian. Thank you for hopping on and spending our day off, kind of hacking away at this. It's gonna be sick.
Yep. Hey everyone. Hey, or just Mike, whoever's here. Um, yeah, excited to do this.
Right on. All right, cool. So I think before we dive in and just start like hacking up, what I think we're going to focus on today is going to be the smart contract side of things. But before we get too deep into that, Darian's already spent some time on the UI front, and so we're going to kind of walk through what we've got already, and then what will happen next. So, Darian, the floor is yours. You'd like to walk us through it a little bit.
Sweet. All right. I'll give a quick overview of the UI. Like Mike said, we are doing a March Madness style app. And I think the first challenge that kind of came to mind for me here was that building a bracket UI is challenging. So I'm not going to say that we've got the most slick UI yet, but we're kind of getting things, we're iterating, working towards something. So let me share my screen and I'll kind of go through what we've got so far. And then we'll kind of talk about the code and the data structures and stuff like that. So, all right. So you can see here, we've got a list here on the left. This is, if you're familiar with March Madness, it's a tournament in NCAA basketball at the end of the season where 64 teams compete in a bracket style showdown, I guess I'll say. Um, a traditional bracket looks like this. So like when you go, you can do a paper bracket to compete against your friends, your, coworkers or whatever. And then there's of course like lots of online providers that have a sort of online component to this. There are these like there's four regions. There's usually it's like Midwest, West, South, and East, I think. And they all compete within each region. So like each quadrant here is a region, like West, South, Midwest, East. And then the winners of each region compete against one of the other regions, and then the winners of those go on to the championship. So um, this is kind of what it generally looks like when you're doing this on paper or like in a typical UI. So we're kind of working in a similar frame of mind with what I've built here. So here you've got on the left, you can see in this top corner, there's like the round of 64. So I've gone and filled out my round of 64. So this is the very first round of the matchup where we're in these like outer leaf nodes here. I've done all these selections, so now I'm in the round of 32 here. So I can kind of go through and say like, okay, UAB, I think they're going to win. Michigan. So we can just kind of quickly click through this next round. Once you've done all those selections, it takes you to the Sweet 16, then to the Elite Eight, the Final Four, and then the championship. So you can kind of get the picture of like what selection looks like. So this is all dummy data. I just brought in data from Cursor. Cursor just created a big file that's like a big list of teams that typically make it into the championship or to the March Madness tournament, and gave them seeds. So like each seed here is like this number here is 9 and 12. It's their seed is like generally their ranking within the tournament. And you'll have one like set of seeds per region. So like you have 4 1 seeds, 4 2 seeds, etc., up to 16. So that's how the tournament works, and that's like how the UI looks for now. We're at a point where I don't want to finesse the UI too much more. I want to get it like wired up and working with the smart contracts. So we're going to dive into what the data looks like currently, and then we'll kind of talk about like structuring the smart contract for it.
Yeah.
Mike, anything you want to throw in there before I look at the data model?
No, no, that was a sick overview. I think you did a good job explaining like how the game works, especially if folks who are tuning in might not be familiar with brackets. So that was a good kind of like setting of the stage. So yeah, let's talk about the data model, and then before we are gonna write like any Solidity code, I think like I can pull up like a diagram. We can kind of like map out some of the design first.
Sweet. Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so I'll say that like when I first started building this out, I was like, I want to just prompt this whole thing. I don't want to write a line of code. I want this all to just happen, and I'll just tell Cursor what to do. And I'm still doing a lot like very AI assisted, but I noticed that like out of the box, it kind of struggled with the like tree shape of the data. Um, I'm a front end engineer, so like data structures and algorithms aren't like my strong suit. So it's like, but this is probably the first time I've really used like a linked list where you have like array items that point to like future items. So you can kind of think about like a tree structure like this, where like you have a matchup here, the 1 seed versus the 16 seed. Let me blow this up a little bit. And it's got to point to the next matchup here, so it can know like how to recurse like down the tree. So I had to start from scratch, and like what the data model looks like now. Let me increase my font here too. Is I've got basically, where is my data? Right here. I've got an array.
By the way, we're still seeing just the bracket.
Oh, okay. Did I not? Let me make sure I'm sharing my full screen. Uh,
Okay.
Screen YOLO mode. All right. So
Okay, there we go.
you can see cursor now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And just for those who might be in shock, Darian doesn't use syntax highlighting. So this
No,
is
yeah. The my color theme is called No Joy in Colors. So it's kind of like a nod to my own personality, but yeah, it's no syntax. There is some minimal syntax highlighting, but it's like all
Mm,
basically black and white. So
there
anyway,
you
you get used to it and actually makes the code more readable. That's my argument. But
go. Oh my God. All right, no
um
comment.
okay. So like the this data we're looking at is just a big dictionary of all of the matchups. It's a one-dimensional, just you've got an ID to a matchup, and then as you scroll, it's like every single matchup is within this data structure. Um, but what it allows you to do is have like O1 access to these items, and you can when you look through these, like they're split up by each individual game. So a matchup of games kind of synonymous. So if we look at this one, this ID, round of 64, South region, and it's got an uh, empty property here, a null property for each team that goes in it. And at the beginning, when you open up the UI and you refresh, if you don't have any picks made, these will all be empty except for the round of 64. So when we go in, once the actual tournament teams are announced, we'll need to download that data and basically say like, all right, these are the teams and which games they got put in. So that when you first open this up, all of the round of 64 teams get populated. And then from that point on, it's up to the user to say which team's going to win because then they make it into the round of 32. So each matchup points to its next matchup. So this one we were looking at has a next matchup ID of 9. And so here's the ID that you can access from this table. It has the same ID inside the record itself. And then it in turn has its next matchup ID, which goes to the Sweet 16. And then you can kind of keep going down, like recursing down until you get to the championship. So um, yeah, like I said, round of 64 teams will get filled in automatically by the app. But then, yeah, the user, as they're making their selections, they'll be seeding these teams into like the round of 32 and so on. So
Yeah, it's hardcore. I love
basically
it.
how it works. And then like there's one extra piece of data we add when we initialize all of this is we have a winner. So like we'll just say like the team ID that the user chooses to win gets added to this data structure. But that's basically it.
Mm.
And then some other than that, there's teams data, and this is just yeah. Again, I asked Cursor to say like, hey, give me a list of 64 teams that typically make it into the NCAA tournament. So along with their seeds, which actually ended up looking pretty accurate. If you follow college basketball, it's like your typical Gonzaga, Jayhawks, Duke, Baylor, things like that. So it was pretty cool to just like it just generated all this data for me and made things. It even found their logos. So like in the UI, we've got logos showing. So anyway, it's pretty cool.
Wait, that's great. Wait, that's awesome. Love that. Um,
So, do you want me to
mhm.
turn over control to you and you can kind of start looking through the code and we can diagram out like the smart contract and talk about how things will work on the on-chain side?
Yeah, yeah, let's do that. And let me just pull up like Excalibur or something here, and I'll share my screen for that. Okay. I got a brand new monitor this weekend, so if it looks weird, I can always resize. Let's say it's like too big or too small. Let me make it a little bit like that. All right, that's probably
Oh, that's
better.
good.
All right, cool. Oh, geez. All right,
That's
moved
too
it and it
big.
got wide. Yep, yep. There we go. All right, there we go. Cool. Okay, great. So, there's a couple of, I think, features about the smart contract that you and I were talking about before coming on that I think are going to be pretty important for us to call out here. So maybe what we can do before we kind of even do the design is like some of the elements that we want to make sure are part of the contract. And so, like for example, there'll be like an entry fee. There'll also be the ability for other people to create their own brackets, but for this initial launch, we're probably going to want to have like one big bracket. So there's kind of an open question about how we manage that. And then I think like the final thing that I was thinking is we want our brackets to be NFTs, right? So we want people to be able to kind of like um, distribute ownership of that bracket by either like an NFT marketplace, or if they just want to transfer it somewhere else, or even just to have as a collectible for after the tournament's over. It's a cool kind of primitive and a bonus of building on chain. So with all that being said, I think I have a few bullets here that I can copy paste into here. Let me just copy this, go to here, text. Whoa, that did not format good. That's still not formatting well. All right, hold up. Then let's just type it out and be quick about it. So, multiple tournaments or slash, contests, I guess we can call it, um, with unique entry fees. But this is like, I would say like low priority.
Yeah.
The next thing we're probably going to want to consider is the NFT functionality, where one bracket is one token ID. And this I'm going to say is a pretty high priority, like that something that we care about, or maybe we can call it medium because it doesn't really like we could get away with not doing that, but we kind of care about that more.
Yeah.
Um, and then uh, what was the other thing I said? Like the entry fees. So like we want to have some kind of like some kind of monetary system because like that's kind of like what the brackets are, like they do payouts, and so we're going to have some kind of like entry fee system. And so how do we manage like tokens and native ETH and stuff? Okay, so like those are kind of like I think like the three main things that we care about, but did you have anything, am I missing anything here?
Um, does this cover like scoring and just like the data structure, or is this more functionality?
I think this is more like functionality,
Okay.
but I can put like the game Oracle system here is like something we care
Yeah.
about. I'm gonna probably use Chainlink for that because I'm familiar with it. And I'm gonna say that's also pretty high. We don't want people being able to kind of like say what the score is and lie about it. So I think like using Chainlink is, I would say, a deal breaker. Um,
Okay.
okay. Anything else there?
I think this is enough to get started for sure.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. So this might change, but I think like just starting off is like we have our brackets contract, um, and this is where the logic for like the uh like the entry fee and like the logic that essentially is like the brain of the app. It'll connect to other things, and I'm in my mind I'm going back and forth like, is this also the NFT contract? I don't know yet. Um, but there's definitely going to be another entity that's like our game score oracle, and this is what's going to be responsible for fetching the data from the outside world, which is going to be like the espn api. um, So this is basically going to use Chainlink to communicate with the outside world, receive scores, write them on chain. This is what we use Chainlink for. Um, and so this will have scores written on chain that the brackets contract can read from. So this is going to read from this.
Is there
And
anything out of the box for that ESPN to GameScore Oracle, or do you have to build that?
this is something that will have to be built, but I could reuse a lot of code from a different project that I made that did this for the NFL.
Gotcha. I just
So I
didn't know if
actually,
Chainlink like automatically I know they have some pre-built integrations with certain data platforms, but I didn't know if they had game scores from ESPN.
um, definitely not from ESPN. It might actually be worth doing, like taking a look to see if there is anything out of the box. I've seen some things in the past, but the reason I've kind of done it myself is just because it kind of gives us more flexibility and
Gotcha.
control, and
Okay.
it's not terrible. Um, okay, so and we'll probably want like something in here to like kick off, um, like one write function to like kick off the fetching of scores. Um, we could have this on some kind of automated timer or whatever, but it's probably just better to have somebody click a button to say, get the latest scores.
Yeah, so will
Um,
that be a manual process that one of us or the contract owner will have to do to say like, okay, a match ended, and would it be like every time a match ends, we need to go and do this manual kickoff to get scores?
yeah, that's a good question. And
I guess
I try,
there's no cron in the smart contract world.
there is, it's Chainlink actually has one called
Oh,
Keeper.
okay.
Um,
Oh, nice.
but it's probably just added complexity. And I think that this I try to keep the ownership or the contract owner functions to a minimum. And I let anybody do this for the NFL game that I made.
Okay.
Um, I do foot the bill, but it's only cost me a few cents, and I only load up like a few bucks. So even if someone's malicious and clicks to drain this, they drained like a dollar or two from me.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Um, okay. And now, so the idea of this having this, so this contract is going to, I think we're at a crossroads now where we're thinking to ourselves, are we going to support number one or not? Um, and if we are, there needs to be some kind of memory, some kind of data structure to say like, here are all the multiple contests that I'm supporting in this bracket here, or in this in this contract. And so I think now's the time where we make that decision. I mean, it wouldn't be too bad, but the only thing we would have to figure out then is like when someone makes a bracket, we have to tie that bracket to a contest. I don't think that's too bad. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we could just let's default to including it. So like there'll be like a okay, this my contests um, mapping, or some kind of data structure. I don't know yet. And then there's going to be some kind of like token ID to contest mapping in here that basically says you've made this bracket in this contest. All right. Now the real meat and potatoes though is something that I kind of been leaving for last because it's going to probably be the most conversation. But how do you represent somebody's bracket selection in the contract? Um, one of the fun things about building on chain, but also one of like the it's like a challenging thing is you have to be very aware of like the data structures you pick and the amount of gas that gets consumed. And bases and L2s in general have made it better in the sense where gas is cheaper, but it's not infinite. And it's still probably just a good practice to try to keep things minimal.
Yeah.
So um so instead of like, a big JSON blob, like we saw when you were walking us through the data structure, like we're not going to be able to basically take that as a one-to-one representation of somebody's bracket selections on chain. Um, so what we can do is we could do something similar, or like we could essentially do that and then hash it. Um, and what I mean by hashing, if folks like aren't familiar with that, is like we're essentially going to run it through an algorithm that spits out like a string on the other side. and every time you put that exact bracket through that algorithm, it's always going to put out the same string. If you make a different choice, it'll make a different string. And even like the slightest change will make a completely different string. And the reason why that's important is the user can basically say, this is my bracket. We run it through the hash. We take the hash, which is, only a few bytes, and we store that on chain. Um, and then later when they want to say like, hey, I committed that bracket, they could prove that those choices correlate to that string, and then we can say yes, that choice was worth however many points based on our scoring system. Um,
Yep.
so
Yeah, and then just store the actual unhashed data off chain and Postgres or something like that.
yeah, I was actually thinking to myself, like, would that be like if we're gonna do NFTs, would that be a good thing to put like in the NFT IPFS data? Do
The
you know what I
hash,
mean?
the hash of the
Not just
data.
that, not just the hash, but because we have more options, like from a storage perspective, we could probably put like readable JSON in the
It's not a bad
NFTs.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we don't need any like off-chain database for that. Yeah,
Right. Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah. Um, I
Did
mean, we could
you
probably do both.
I know you talked about using Merkle trees for this, and then we would just commit like the state root to the contract. Have you done any more exploration on that?
Yeah, so I think that could work. So let me see if I could find like a um,
Give us
Merkle
like an overview.
tree visualization. Okay. All right. So the idea here being, and I've never used this before, but this is interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah. If I input two, all right. I don't know I actually not exactly sure what this is doing. Um,
It's going to hash
yeah,
whatever you put that input and then update the parent nodes, it looks like.
interesting. And then, okay, is it doing this in real time? That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's doing that in real time. So basically what we could do is we can use this concept of a Merkle tree, and we could have all of these picks as like representations here in the tree. And then as we go up the tree, we're hashing the children. So like the hash of 7FFF and 5 here is this, and then the hash of 6 and 6 here is this, and then the hash of this and this is this. You do that all the way up the tournament bracket until you get to like this final, what they call the root. You store the root on chain, and then you could rebuild this tree if you know all of the picks that you've done. It's like another way of saying like, here's all my picks, and then you can just go brrrr, and here's the string that represents all of those picks essentially. um so yeah, we could definitely do something like that. um
What kind of data do you think goes in each of the nodes?
I would think
Other than
it's
like
got,
a team ID or like something like that?
yeah, I'm thinking it's probably going to be team ID and
Matchup name, matchup
yeah,
ID or something like that.
yeah, like game ID and team ID, so, something like that.
Yeah.
um the only thing where maybe this actually works out well, but we need an even number of what they call like the leaves here. And you do 63 picks for March Madness. Maybe the 64th thing could be like the tie-breaking score of the game.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's common.
Yeah.
But
Um
it doesn't where does the tie-breaking score end up on the like on the tree structure? Because wouldn't it be a child of the top level node?
I'm sorry, I got
I
my
guess it doesn't matter
monitor.
actually.
Oh, I didn't, my monitor gave me some kind of warning.
Oh,
Automatic.
overheating already.
Yeah, I didn't know they overheat.
Do they? Is that what it
Click
says?
cancel or it says it says to maintain panel image quality, the panel will automatically activate when the monitor's usage is over 4 hours. I don't even know what that means, but let me see if I could just like ignore it. Hold on. later. There we go. All right, got it out of the way. Sorry about that, but I didn't hear your question, so I was distracted by that.
No, my question was about where that, if we do a tie-breaking score as a node here, like where does it end up on the tree?
Oh, it would be like this last
Okay.
item. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess
Okay.
that makes sense. It doesn't necessarily have to be like matchup to matchup. It's just like yeah, an extra piece of data to record.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Um. Okay. Cool. So I think what we can do is maybe I could spin up cursor and kind of tell it everything that we want done. We could maybe see how far it gets with just like the bracket contract first. And you
Yep.
just like say like just take for granted like the fact that we have a score oracle contract and everything. So all right. Let me share that instead. I'll make this a little bit bigger. Cool. Go to my composer, brackets, great. Now I've actually the stuff I was trying to copy paste into Excalidraw, I could definitely copy paste here. So basically, what this is saying is it's a prompt. I've been talking to ChatGPT about what we want to do here. So we want to build a March Madness style bracket game on base. There could be multiple tournaments, each with its own unique entry fee, which is like an amount and ERC20 token or native ETH. And the start time we're not going to have as a requirement here. The second thing is use a single NFT collection where each minted NFT represents one user's bracket for a specific, I'm going to say multiple contest. I'm going to call this a contest. Cool. And then number three, store each bracket's pick off chain and IPFS such token URI and commit them on chain with a Merkle root with a tiebreaker integer. Just like what we were just talking about. They're going to collect the entry fee in either the native token or whatever the ERC20 token is. I just use 10% as an easy thing, but and we're going to put that in like a treasury and then hold the remaining for the prize payout. And then after the tournament ends, we're going to fetch the final outcomes with a trustless oracle, i.e. Chainlink. Use those results to calculate the bracket score. And then it's going to be a winner take all format. So, whoever has the best bracket wins it all. And we're going to distribute the prize
Should we talk
on
about
chain.
that?
Distributing the prize or the
Well,
score?
I think it could be a little more engaging if it was like a top 10% or something like that, or you had tiers maybe, because
Mm,
these brackets like they're tough to get right, and yeah, I just feel like if you had like a wider prize pool and you could like have tiered, I don't know.
yeah, no,
We can
I
always
think
do it like this and then adjust it later. Yeah.
I don't think it's actually too bad to make it like I don't know. What do you think? Like the only thing is when you get with these problems is like say you're going to give it to the top 10 brackets, right? You're going to distribute the prize at like, whatever it is. Like, the first bracket gets like a lot more, the second, third, whatever. You need that many people in the game. Um,
We're
so
gonna
the
get
question
that
is like,
many, Mike.
yeah, I have no doubt.
I'm gonna
I have
enter it
no
like
doubt.
20 times. So
the,
take
the
that
the thing I
alone.
do have doubts about though, I do have doubts if somebody spins up a game, right? Because we're going to let you make it how many contests you want. So if people spin up brackets and then say only two people play, like what happens? Maybe we say like the top 5% of brackets win a prize, or I don't know. See, like it gets a little hairy in that situation.
Yeah, yeah.
But I like it. I want there to be. I mean, we could hard code it at three, and then if there's I don't know less than three, it just burns.
Yeah, just do like a
You know
percentage with a max
yeah.
math dot round, which
um,
probably costs a bunch of gas. But
I'll say just like distribute the prize pool to the top three brackets for now. And I'll say like make the number three something I can easily change. We'll just do that for now. I like the idea of making it more than just winner take all. All right, so then let's ensure that this contract architecture has two parts. So we have a tournament manager. So that's kind of like the brain we were talking about. Creates and manages tournaments, handles the fees, handles the scoring and the payout. We have the bracket NFT, so that's like our NFT contract. Um, we have to consider security practices here, which is good. So let's see, restricting minting to the manager. Yep, preventing new entries after the start time. Great. I didn't even say that. I think it just came up with that. And then here's your task. So, all right, well-structured, secure Solidity contracts for this game, follow best practices and gas efficiency and security, and then integrate the external Oracle. I think instead of saying integrate the external Oracle, I'm just going to say take for granted that you have an external Oracle for final scores. All right. Now that's quite the prompt. I'm
That's
gonna
way
go
more than
ahead.
I write in my prompts. Mine's like make a March Madness app, go. And
Well,
then it
I'm gonna let
fucks up, so then you have to like start from scratch basically. So
well while it's cooking, I'll just say like what I was doing was I was using the O1 model with ChatGPT and I was just talking about it. Like I was like sitting on the couch watching a movie with my wife and I was kind of just like texting it. Um, just in plain English, like what we were doing. And the conversation got long enough where like the last thing I said was like, okay, give me a good prompt I could give my AI IDE to create these smart contracts. And that's what it gave me. So it's not
your
as
wife
bad.
didn't get suspicious that you were over there texting,
My AI girlfriend. Yeah.
yeah, AI waifu.
Yeah. All right. So it's already doing its
It's done.
thing. It's already, yeah, it's pretty much.
Yeah, no, I've noticed these like getting started with a project like this, if at the very least it just gets like the files created, the functions, just like the boilerplate out there, and then you're kind of like going through each piece and saying, okay, we got to refine this. Like it's
Mhm.
worth it just for that alone. So
Yeah. Yeah. Um, okay, let's see what we got here. It's taking its time. It doesn't normally take that long. We'll see what it comes up with. Wow. All right, spit it all out at once. All right, cool. And I wonder if it's going to try to, yeah, it is going to try to do some stuff here, but I could already tell the linting problems is because we don't have Open Zeppelin installed as a dependency. But let's see, just read what it did. So it made its NFT contract, stores the Merkle roots, only allows minting from the tournament manager contract. That's cool. So you have to go through our game to get the NFT, which is what you should have to do. Creates and manages tournaments, handles both ETH and ERC20 token entry fees, collects a 10% developer fee, enforces tournament timing restrictions, manages the prize distribution, and includes reentrancy protection. Um, so I don't think I've actually talked about reentrancy on any of my streams. Um, but it could be a cool thing to talk about just quickly in case anyone here is interested. But reentrancy is essentially an attack where you can call a payable function or a Solidity function that takes Ethereum, not an ERC20, but like the native token of the blockchain. And oh, hold on. No, it doesn't. It doesn't even have to be payable. All that has to happen is the function has to send native Ethereum out of it. And if you can control where that native Ethereum is going, say it's a payout, right? The payout function, it's like I click payout to me. I know that the function is going to send me some Ethereum. You can send that Ethereum to an address that is another smart contract that does something that calls the original contract that you kicked off the function for. So I know it sounds weird, but like, so what you end up doing is you re-enter the contract that you called initially because smart contracts can do things when they receive Ethereum, right? So you're calling our contract, it sends ETH to a contract that you've written, and that is the trigger. Think of it like a webhook in the Web 2 world. You received a webhook, you could do something because we kicked that off, and like it's all in one transaction. So you could actually keep going back into our contract and do something maybe that like drains the contract or something, right? So that's what reentrancy is. And so there's simple, reentrancy guard is like a simple way of securing against that.
I see that
Uh,
it extends ownable. I haven't done as much smart contract development as you, but from what I hear, like ownable two-step is a little bit more secure. If in the case that you need to transfer ownership of a contract, it's just a little bit more secure. Do you prefer one way or the other?
I don't. I think the two step is right. Like the owner or the future owner has to agree to take the ownership.
Right.
Um, yeah, I
Maybe if
to
it
be
was like
honest,
a thing we could potentially we were selling the contract or something. But I think this is going to be like one shot. We do the tournament, and then that's the end of this contract essentially.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, we probably don't need anything too sophisticated around that.
Got it.
Um, the events are really important though, especially if we want to do something on the web app that requires us to know that something happened in the contract. So that's good. Um, and it already knew that the linter errors were due to us not having Open Zeppelin installed, which is cool. Um, all right, so wow, it's already got like a little check. This is a lot of stuff that it spit out.
Yeah.
Why don't we read some of this code here and see what we've got? So it's importing the ERC20 and ERC721 interfaces from Open Zeppelin. I actually don't know if those are the correct interfaces, but I'll take it for granted for now. All right. So now, okay. So actually, it made that decision for us where the brain contract is the NFT contract. Um, that's interesting. Uh,
I
or
think it makes
hold up,
sense.
it just put that contract. It just put the NFT contract in the same file here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, I think what we're actually going to want to do is that'll be like the first update. Like,
Yeah.
please
Split them up.
separate, yeah, the different contracts into their own files. Yeah, because that could get confusing. Um, but so let's just see what they did here for the 721. So it made a mapping between like your NFT and your Merkle root, which is like essentially like your picks. That's great. Your token ID to the tournament that you're a part of, which is also a good thing. Um, the tiebreaker. All right, that's great. And then your token URI, which is essentially the IPFS URI, which thought we, I guess that other ERC 721. I thought ERC 721 would take care of that for us, but whatever.
Hmm.
This is just like a standard, like the next token to mint, easy. All right, they have an event that fires when you create a bracket, which is great. We'll know when somebody joined. Um, it's always going to have this name and this symbol, which is fine. And sets whoever deploys this to be the tournament owner or the owner of the contract. And it's got a modifier saying that only the owner can do stuff. Okay. Or only the tournament manager. So I'm guessing there's a concept of like when someone creates a game, they become like the tournament manager. Okay. Um, oh, bye. Moved it here.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah. Um,
Had a random idea. The
yeah.
NFT could be like your champion, whoever wins the championship, like their logo or whatever. I don't know. Could be cool. So it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
visible in your wallet and stuff.
I like that. And we could like yeah, just update the um like the image and stuff like that. And I actually don't think there's
Yeah.
anything wrong with us updating that data because the data that we care about for the payouts are on chain and we can't
Just the
change
Markle route.
these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you
Yeah.
could potentially do like their percentage correct, or I don't know, something like that, like something cool. But
I love
anyway,
that. Yeah, yeah. Um, okay, minting a bracket. So, okay, this is also great. The ability to say like who's minting this to, because like maybe we are doing something with like a relayer or whatever, like and the person who's actually calling it isn't maybe having like their gas sponsored by like a relayer or something. And so it's not message sender who's we're minting it for, we're minting it for someone specific. And so you just put the address. I'm gonna guess 99% of the time it's your own address, but this is for the situation where it's not. Um, all right, the tournament ID, the Merkle route, your tiebreaker, and okay, I don't know how I feel about this, but I guess no, I guess we have to do it this way. Then that's fine. We're gonna have to post some stuff to IPFS ourselves, and then
like off chain.
yeah, yeah, and then put that here, which is fine. It's only going to be used for our front end, so we're not going to be using this data on chain, which is fine. Um, Okay, and I think all this other stuff is really kind of like the standard ERC 721 stuff, and then here's like the us writing on chain what your pick was and what game you're a part of and all that. Okay.
Can you go
Okay.
through, sorry, this is for me since I'm a little
Mhm.
less like familiar with smart contract development, but just kind of go through like the UX of the game and then say like, okay, this function will be called and then this will
Mhm.
happen, etc.
Sure. So, where I'm starting from here assumes that there's already somebody who set up a tournament, like they've already set up a contest. And the only thing that what we've just looked at, the NFT does is to say, I want to play in this contest. Um, and now that I'm looking at it, I'm seeing something missing, but I'll call it out. So basically, all this is doing is saying, um, this address has made these picks, right, for this contest, and here's the NFT for it. That's all this is doing. We haven't covered the entry fee, which is required to call this contract this function, and we haven't covered like the creation of the tournament itself. I'm assuming we're going to see that in like the brain.
Yeah, so it's
Uh,
probably brackets dot sol. That contract will call mint bracket, right?
yep, I'm expecting that, and they
Is
might have made
there
it tournament manager.
is there a oh I see that. Okay. Is there somewhere listening for that bracket created? Um is that what we would use to get the token ID and then publish it to IPFS?
This is probably not going to be used by. Well, it definitely won't be used by anything that's like on chain, like any of the other contracts. But this, we could use this for um, like a if we want to make like a GraphQL subgraph of like all the different users who created um, NFTs. Like we could do that with this. It's really just like think of it like a webhook to our app. Like this thing happened, and we can do whatever we want from there.
Um the tiebreaker I see is separated from the Merkle root. I know we talked about having it as part of the Merkle tree with the
Mhm.
score differential being the tiebreaker. So does that need to be separate here?
Um, it doesn't need to be separate, but maybe maybe it was simpler to do it that way. There's like a concept of like of padding Merkle roots that are that have like an odd number of leaves, and you could just
Put a
pad it
zero
with
or
like
something, yeah.
you
One.
pad it with
Okay.
nothing. So it's probably what they did.
Makes
Um,
sense.
yeah. All right. So this file looks good. This is only an issue because of the imports are not there or whatever. I don't know. All right, this is just a relic of the bad original creation. And then here we go. This is the brain of the whole thing. So um, it's ownable, it's got reentrancy. All right, so this is like the structure of a tournament. So we've got our entry fee, our payment token. This is important. We're going to use address 0 for ETH. So the null address is ETH in this case. Start time and end time. I wonder why we need the end time.
I would think it would just be like a is active or something like that.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
only the owner can call.
you definitely shouldn't be able to mint a bracket after a certain deadline that we could just hard code into here. But I don't know why we would need an end time. Maybe we'll know more when we get down there.
Yeah, I don't know that we can rely on the game ending at like a certain
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
We'll probably just want to that's my thought is we would manually control when you can create brackets, when you cannot create them, and then when the game ends.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'll see
But yeah, we can keep going.
what they use for that is finalized. I'm also interested in like what that means. The prize pool. So I guess this is like the total amount, the total entries. Okay, and then an ordered list of winners. Interesting. I'm curious how it does that. All right. So then this is just using a 10% fee, max winners. Great. That's easy enough to change. This is probably, yeah, this is going to be the address of the bracket NFT contract that we just read through. And then wherever we're going to send 10% of the entry fee. All right, state variables, a UNT ID to tournament. All right, so I'm guessing this is like the tournament ID, and then the next tournament ID to be created. We get an event where the tournaments get made, the ID, the fee, the token it's using, the start time and end time. Still don't know why we have that. All right. When somebody enters a tournament, we get something here. This would also, I'm assuming, be fired when we mint the bracket. So maybe duplicate events there. Tournament's finalized, so when it ends, it's probably a good thing for us to emit. All right. Now, when we create the contract itself, we're going to have to tell it what NFT contract to point to. We can tell it where to send dev funds. They both can't be null, and that's about it. It just sets those things up. And are they constant or can they be changed? They are constant. Okay. Oh, no, they're not. Immutable. So this can't change after being set, and this can. So the bracket NFT can't be, which is a good thing because then people can feel confident in the fact that like no one can change, you know, the NFT that you own. It's going to always be tied to this contract. Um, all right. So how to create a tournament? You set up the entry fee, the token, the start time, the end time. Start time has to be in the future. End time has to be after the start time. Makes sense. Then it sets the tournament ID to whatever the next one is +1. Um, the tournament ID is now this struct, and it's everything to 0 here, which is fine. Yeah, a net is maybe we set this. I wonder if we set this to like the max winners, just because it's like, shouldn't it always be that length? I don't know how it's managed yet, but maybe. And then we admit that someone made a tournament. This is good for like creating like if you think about like the UI, someone arrives at the app and they're like, well, which contests can I play in? And we need to populate that list. I mean, you could, loop through up until like the next tournament ID variable. You could go from 0 to that and read each tournament, or we could make like a subgraph based on these uh, events and just have it there ready to go, already indexed. All right, entering the tournament. Now, here's all that information that we saw when minting the NFT. So that matches up. It's non-reentrant. So if you pay, or maybe I'm getting this wrong, but we're not paying any. Oh, maybe it's going. Is it going directly to the? Yeah, it might be going directly to the developer fund right away. All right, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. It's non-reentrant. That's a good thing. Doesn't matter. Um,
Where is it
all right,
passing the entrance address?
good question. I'm guessing it's, yeah, that's a good question because it's probably going to be relying on message sender, and we don't want that.
Right. For like
Um,
smart contract or account abstraction wallets, I guess.
yeah, so let's do address participant, and let's just change that up a little bit. Anywhere we see like message.sender, this is that it? This, this. Okay, better. Good catch there. Okay, so you can't join if the tournament's already started. That means that the current block's timestamp is less than the start time. Block timestamps get bigger, so the future. Oh, it requires that this is true. Okay, duh. And the tournament's not finalized. Okay, good. Handling the entry fee. So the payment token. Oh, if it's address 0, then we're going to use ETH. Great. So then they need to pass in value along with the message. So you need to pass in Ethereum, and it needs to equal the entrance fee. Otherwise, we just say it's not the correct amount. I mean, I guess it's fair. I've seen some protocols. They say it's just got to be greater than, and then they just like they rug you on the
Yeah,
if you
YOLO
send
the
more.
rest.
Yeah, so it's not. So we'll make it exactly that, which I think is the right thing to do. All right, the dev fee is whatever that is, and then the basis points. Cool. We add that to the prize pool. Wonderful. And this is why it's reentrant guarded, because this is sending those funds right away to the developer treasury. And if this was a malicious contract, it could re-enter this current contract, which is not what you want. Okay, great. All right. So if it's an ERC20, what we need to do is check the balance before, the balance of this contract before any transfers happen. And then we need to do a transfer from the participant to this contract for the entry fee amount. And then we have to check to make sure that that balance has been updated. And then we do the same thing with the dev fee. Now there's a better way of doing this. There's a safe transfer from.
Isn't this basically just
Uh,
saying like if they for some reason they send USDC, then we'll just send it back to them, essentially?
the safe
Like
transfer
what
from.
is yeah, what is the else block handling right here?
Oh, this else block is basically saying that the entrance fee is being paid for in ERC20 and not Ethereum.
Okay.
So we have to handle that differently.
Yeah, I
And the
thought we
reason,
were gonna I thought the fee would be paid in ETH. Is that not the plan?
oh,
Or should we do USDC or what?
so anyone who makes a game can set what
Oh, they
the
can
entrance fee is.
specify. Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
you
cool,
can
cool. All
do a
right,
thousand degen or whatever. Yeah,
love it.
yeah. Um, but with safe transfer from, I think we actually have to do a few things. We could say like, please update tournament manager to use safe transfer from when doing ERC20 transfers. And the reason why is there's something about like the ERC20 standard where not all tokens will tell you if a transfer was successful or not. Maybe all of these checks uh, essentially make that not a problem. But I've always just gotten in the habit of using safe ERC20 transfers. Um, One thing I just want to make sure. Okay, it didn't overwrite our participant stuff. Thank God. Okay. Um, so it's just always a good practice, in my opinion, to use like the safe transfer from to account
Right.
for ERC20s that don't tell you if they've been successfully transferred or not. Um, all right. So then we mint that NFT, right? And because that NFT contract only allows minting from our contract, this should work. We increment the total entries. We've already incremented the prize pool, and then the bracket entered is emitted. Did we do the prize pool for? We did. Okay, good. The ERC20 as well. All right. Finalizing the tournament. Let me see. How much further do we have to go here? Not very far. Two more functions. So finalizing the tournament. So we get the tournament ID. Pass in the. Oh, I don't like this at all. It's passing in the winners and passing in the prizes, and it's only owner. Not a fan of this. We
No,
could
it's
probably
basically
refactor.
saying like at the end of the tournament, we determine the winners, right?
Yeah, yeah, not a fan of that. Um, but there's probably some stuff here that could be reused. So, like the tournament not ended, we're gonna all right. So I haven't actually seen a good reason to keep the end time, so we'll probably get rid of that.
Yeah.
Uh, Even like the is finalized is probably worth having because after this gets called, we'll set it to is finalized, and you can't call it again.
Yep.
Um, Too many winners. Yeah, that's not how we're gonna do it. Yeah, prize length mismatch. Okay, and this is probably just looping through and paying people out. Yeah, not not something we're gonna keep here. And then the get tournament. Okay, so this is just like a read function because reading structs could be a pain, and so this is just a nice like function for readability and helping. Like it's like a helper function for reading the data within a struct, which is good. You would get this as like a tuple, I think, of all these values. So
Yeah, I was gonna say for me, like working on the UI, I think the next thing I wanted to move on to was like after you authenticate or sign in with your wallet, you would see like a list of tournaments, and then you could pick one. And it would also show like the number of entrants, or maybe even like base names, ETH addresses, ENS, whatever of everyone that's entered. So something like this would be nice for me to kind of move on to the next part of the UI. It'll also
okay,
help
cool.
too with like I think once you picked your bracket, you want to see like I don't know what to call it, but like kind of a dashboard of like, here's all your picks. Here's also like you can look at other people's choices and stuff like that. See how you're performing, among the other people who've entered. So definitely need some read data that I can start using to hack on.
For sure. Okay, cool, cool. Um,
Do you want to talk about start time, end time? I feel like that's the biggest like thing sort of pervasive in this contract and like kind of a gameplay decision we need to make.
Yeah, yeah. Let me just install the Open Zeppelin thing so I can get this out of the way. But
This that
yeah,
squigglies out of here.
yeah. Oh, I don't have. Can I just use like regular npm? Will that work? Um, so yeah, let's talk about that because I didn't actually see a good use of end time. I didn't see anything in here that. Um,
It goes into tournament.
yeah, but if we think about it, how
Is
would
it
we
in the payout?
know?
Is it in the called in the payout or the finalized tournament function?
Yeah, it's just making sure you're not ending it before
Yeah.
whatever time you've set. But
This
um,
function is so much like honor system anyway that I
yeah,
yeah.
and I think that's all it's used for though. Like it doesn't like this is just a read function, so let's get it out of here. But
Mhm.
like everything else in time, where's the? It's now it's just in like the. Let's get it out of the struct. Let's get it out of this event. This is just another thing, like another thing. It can't you can't create it after the end time surpasses, and then yeah. So I mean, like, how would we know if the tournament's ended without an end time variable?
Is there
I
a
think
way
that's. Mhm.
we could do it with? Are you trying to figure out how to do it with our Oracle?
Yeah, I think like that's something that should come from the Oracle. The Oracle can tell us that the tournament is complete. Um,
Yeah, can the Oracle surface like a first game and a last game? And I don't know, it
so
would need to know like when the game actually starts to disallow. And it should probably be like an hour before the game starts just to be safe. Like you can't submit brackets, you know,
an hour
second.
before game time.
Yeah.
Well, that's like one of the reasons we touched on it before. Like, why not use just like a standard out of the box like data source from like an existing Oracle solution? Because we get this kind of flexibility where we can kind of control the data that we want. So, I mean, I can just get it in here so that we have it. But this is the game score Oracle that I've used in my NFL game, and it's going to be very similar to the game score Oracle contract that we use in this. I almost did top .ts there. Um, and then I could just probably install this. So this smart contract is basically like you could think of it as like node fetch. Like you could think of it as like just doing API calls and then taking the result of that and storing it in the on chain so that our contract can use it. So it's currently making this API call to this endpoint. I'm pretty much just going to change it to like, you know, NCAA or, you
Mhm.
know, whatever, basketball. But we can control what the structure looks like. So I think like something to the effect of like tournament is over and the struct will be a, mm, we're probably going to need structures for games and we're probably going to need structures for the whole tournament. Right. Mm,
And some
uh,
mapping back to how we have it. It's on the clock.
yeah. Like if we think that this contract will only be used this year, we could probably um, just have something to the effect of um, like this is finalized thing could be like a global thing. Like, uh,
For all tournaments that are contests that get created are
y-
referencing that.
yeah.
I think that's
I mean,
fine. I mean, they all end at the same time, and they should all start at the same time. So
yeah. The other thing we could do is we could say um like your year, and then we could have like a mapping of like year to um is finalized.
I think I'm fine. Like if we do this next season, we'll just recreate the contract and
Add
V2
those
basically.
bells and whistles. Yeah.
Yeah, especially because when the tournament's over, it's the contract isn't going to do anything for another.
Yeah.
a year or so. So
Okay. Cool. So we could say like is tournament finalized um IRL.
love it.
Yeah. And so all of those things about the end time then should really be thinking about this boolean. Let me just quickly revert back to that. All the end time things.
Just swap it out.
Yeah. So I think that was it. So then let me just go up here, add that I'm taking it out of this, also taking this out, and then I'm gonna be saying we can just say is finalized IRL. And then
Do we want to go ahead
uh
and create ones? Because there's two other distinct points. There's when you can create brackets. I guess you can
uh-huh.
create them as soon as, well, you won't be able to create them until Selection Sunday happens, which is when the teams get released. So like there wouldn't be any sense in emitting or sending anything to this contract until we have the data in there. So
Mhm.
maybe we have like a bracket submission available or some sort of boolean like that, and then that boolean goes from false to true once Selection Sunday happens and we have data on the teams and their matchups, and then it goes to false an hour or so before the first game starts.
I like the idea of setting it to false before, like, to prevent people from submitting after they would have an unfair advantage. But in terms of submitting before that, I don't I don't know
Yeah.
if we need to put that in the
What are you
contract.
going to
Like,
do? Like, yeah, you're not going to have anything in the UI to click on. So, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good point.
Um, okay, so then I'm just replacing end time with this whole. Uh, you don't need the create tournament thing. We just say is finalized IRL. This is actually also not. Yeah. No, it's a time. It's not. Get rid of these things. This thing, and I'm looking for that. There was like a maybe not. I thought there was like a constraint around the end time, but I'm guessing there wasn't. Um, why do we care
It's just
about
the
this?
one. It was just the one to ensure that if you finalize the tournament, it doesn't happen before end time, right?
Right, and
But
we're not gonna keep this probably.
like depending on what function we do create to do finalizing and payouts and stuff
Right.
like that, you may need that.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Cool. Um, so I mean, while we're here, right? I mean, instead of saying only owner, I'm going to say only game score Oracle, and then up here, I'm going to make another modifier. Um, this one doesn't even have like a specialized modifier, so game score Oracle, sure. I mean, that's going to be a constant. Um, and then a modifier. Yep. And then when we call this here, gonna also set the game score Oracle. Okay. So basically, that's just saying that we're going to set the game score Oracle contract when we it can never be changed again. Make it immutable, so people can trust it, and then that will be the only thing that's allowed to call this finalize tournament thing. So we're going to need like a function for that in the game score Oracle contract. Um, okay, so that was kind of a lot.
I think the line 154, you just need to require you have like a stamp comparison for that. If you're
For
playing
which
154, you're comparing a timestamp, or is finalized IRL going to be a timestamp or just a boolean?
you're right. It's got to be. Uh,
It's not finalized. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not finalized, and then the first thing we're gonna do is make it finalized. Um, and this, I'm just thinking like, Well,
They
something,
want that 158 won't ever
yeah,
get called, right?
yeah, yeah. What I'm thinking is, uh, there's actually like there's two different executions, I guess I could say. The This tournament manager, someone should be able to click a button, and that's going to kick off a job for the game score oracle to go out and read data from the outside world. Execution one is over. That's all that does. Execution two is when the game score oracle has received the data that it went out and fetched and wrote that back on chain. It's at that time where the is finalized gets set to true. Does that make sense? Let me just. So there'll be a function here where it's like, um, is the tournament over? And then it's going to ask ESPN,
Mhm.
is it over? And then and that's execution one. And then execution two is when uh, ESPN says yes. And then the game score oracle is the only one who's allowed to come in here and set, is finalized to true.
What is calling is tournament over from the brackets contract? What cadence or what interaction causes that to kick off?
So I think that's going to have to be. I mean, we could do a like a cron job, right, with a keeper, but I think it's just better, just more straightforward for it to just be a function that anyone can call. Yeah. So
Because it's all in an oracle, anyone can call it, and yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. So let us. We could say, maybe what can we call it? Check if tournament is ended, right? Um, and this is not necessary. We could say IRL here, and then calls the game score oracle. Wow. You can just import the game score oracle. Um, Instead of this being an address, we can have it be a game score oracle. So it gets all of the different functions and stuff. It's like the right interface. And then down here, you could say game score oracle dot, and so you get all these functions from it. We haven't written it yet, but we could just say like check if tournament ended IRL. That's all it does. So this doesn't return anything.
I guess the only worry is that if anyone can call it, are they just going to exhaust your gas, or does it cost them gas to? It's
Yeah,
going to cost them gas. So I mean, yeah, there's no
it
like
costs it costs them
civil.
gas, but it also costs me like a little bit of link. But what I like to
Yeah.
do is like I'll keep it unfunded, and then I'll fund it, with a couple bucks at some point towards the end of the thing, and then and if I got hit by a bus and or vanish from the face of the earth, anybody could just fund
Okay.
the
Right.
oracle and then kick it off. So trustless
Graham
still, but
asks if he got, yeah, he got disinvited from stand up. Sorry, yeah, we did. Is he on?
oh crap, we're having stand up. I actually learned that today's actually a Canadian holiday too. I didn't realize.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
He was on
Um,
YouTube. Let's see.
oh, for real?
No, no,
Nice.
that was on X. Never mind.
Oh, yeah. I do like how it kind of aggregates all of the different, like the different channels, I guess you could say.
Anyone you want to shout out, Karim? Any product you want to push? No. Okay.
Karem's actually building something super sick. I hope he does a stream.
Yeah, he's told me
I don't.
about it. We should. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool. And I don't know how much we're allowed to talk about it, so I'm just not going to say
He can be
anything.
your next guest.
Yeah, You have to, I don't give this show a brand name.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, all right, so let me just add. I'm just gonna add like a true for now. To
Okay.
this. Just gonna return true. Okay. Yeah. So basically, it's saying you're not reading from state. You're not updating state. You can say this is pure. So that's why I was
Got it.
complaining. Um, all right, deleting this. We don't need it. Okay. So, I mean, out of those three components, we have them now. To make something that, well, we didn't really like dig into the game score oracle, but we just take that for granted for now. Um, Out of like all the stuff, it's complaining.
Being declaration.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There's already a token URI. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It's not the same. Shadows the inherited token URI from ERC 2020. Oh, okay. Well, I don't think we. I'm just like thinking to myself, like,
Oh, is token
oh, because
URI like a part of ERC 20, like the base contract
yeah,
721?
yeah, and I think like what most NFT projects do is like they'll have like a URI, and then at the end of it'll be like slash token ID, and that has all the metadata there. But because we don't know what that metadata is going to be, we need to rely on the user to upload that metadata and tell us where it lives.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. And then sometimes I get this too, where like um maybe it's like there was like an old version of the NFT contract that had this like exist thing. I mean, we could just check the number. Uh what's it doing here? Interesting. I
Yeah,
don't think
just
that did
reference
anything.
the map.
Yeah, I don't think that did anything here. I think we could just check to see if the next token ID uh yeah, require next token ID, whatever. Yeah, this is easier to read, that's fine. Like a card that the token ID is less than the next token ID, so it's been minted already, something like that. Um, okay, so let's think about the things to put a bow on this for now, at least, to give you enough of the stuff to um, like build more of the UI with. I could deploy these to like Sepolia or whatever, and then we would,
Yeah, that's what I'm
yeah.
thinking, is get it on a test net and then maybe some scripts to like seed this with some data so I don't have to like manually call all these
Hmm.
functions
Yeah. Okay.
to get
All right.
test, or we could just create test data and support a couple different tournaments, and it's fine. Like we don't need a script, but it would be nice to have that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
Um,
nice too to have a script that like removes everything or like redeploys the contract. So in case you like change something and
I agree. I did it for like the boxes game, and I loved that I spent a few minutes doing that.
yeah,
Because I used it a lot. Let me just find that script because that's probably not too far off from what we would use here. Deploy.ts. Yeah. Okay. And I'm just scanning it to make sure there's nothing in here. That's like my key or anything, which there is not. That's when the chat gets like that's when you like they start foaming from the mouth. So about to put something
right.
on screen that's about to put a mnemonic on the screen. All right.
The I see your private keys. Yes, for Sepolia.
All right. So I've got my deploy.
Someone commented and said the X stream went down.
No, for real.
I'm gonna have to let you handle that because I'm new to your platform.
Yeah.
I'm the guest. I don't take care of technical difficulties.
Yeah, yeah. You just oh, I even see it gave a little. Um,
See, media could have you replayed or played.
we'll keep trying and let you know if it's resolved. Please check X to ensure the stream looks okay. If this continues for a while, try creating a new live stream or just remove this destination and then re-add it. All right, let's remove it. Ooh, okay, no, never mind. It popped up and said, "Do you want to delete like the cast that had like the recording?" Um, all right, so I removed it, and now let's add it back. I'll say part two. All right. Thank you, Oss. Thank you.
Part two is fine. Since it is part two, I'm going to take a quick intermission. I'll be
Yeah,
back in like
yeah.
2 minutes. All right.
Sounds good. I'm getting an error here. Trying to go live on X. I wonder if it's on their end then. Like technical difficulties on X. Let's see. What's going on here? Hmm. X is definitely messing up here. The the drafted post will be discarded before you quote. I don't even know what that means. Why is X going nuts today? What's going on? Technical difficulties on X. Join us on YouTube. Thank you for the call out, though. Us trying to figure this out, and does not look like X is. Oh, X just worked. Don't know how. I didn't do anything different.
We're back.
Yeah, what's going on? Um, all right, so X keeps telling me that it succeeds, and then it fails again. So I just put out a tweet saying join us on YouTube. Um, but my profile does say that it's live. Oh no, it went away. X is acting up, so gonna keep it on YouTube and promoting it on X.
We got the official
Um,
Mochi token. Leave in a comment. That's awesome.
that is cool. But they probably don't see it anymore since X is not live. That's a real bummer. I've never actually had this happen before.
I see it.
Uh,
I see it back up in the original link.
oh, for real?
Yeah, I just had to refresh.
Oh, well, that's even better then, because hopefully that means people didn't get kicked. Um, GM,
Okay,
yeah, I
cool.
saw that. Okay, yeah. Wow. All right, let me quote. Actually, we are back. We are back.
Maybe X should hire some more people. I don't know.
Oh man, no, Darren, don't deplatform me.
Oh right, yeah. Sorry. I don't have a lot at risk. I've got like 300 followers, so
Well, that's a good plug. Everyone should follow Darian.
please.
All right, I was just writing a script. This is the script that I used for my other game. Oh, I didn't actually paste it. Let me grab that from boxes app. Yeah. All right, cool. So this is just coming with the template, but here's the one that I have from uh, my other game. So instead of boxes, uh, let's worry about this in a sec. We'll run type chain in a sec. The functions router, VRF wrapper. We don't need VRF for this app, right? There's nothing for
What is
that.
VRL?
VRF is also using Chainlink, but to just get random numbers. Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense for the boxes game.
yeah. Um, if you run this script yourself, you might need to create your own Chainlink function subscription ID. So the Chainlink function subscription is the thing that could get drained by people clicking like crazy. Um, but it's free to make, and you just need testnet stuff in there. Or I'm trying to think if I could maybe I could add you as a or add your wallet as like a owner on the subscription so that you can run the script with just my ID. But either way, I mean, this is going to be simple, so simple enough to run that you can even just ping me and say run it, and I can click a button
Yeah.
and it'll just run.
Okay.
Um, okay, so let me just update this a little bit to be. Let me run type chain, uh, or maybe I think we get that automatically by running compile. Everyone's going to see how bad I am with the terminal.
Are you
Uh,
are you using hard hat or
I think we're going to use Foundry.
Foundry? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I have to do
I
this all the time. Like get cursor to remind you of like different CLI commands.
exactly. But I don't think we're going to get. Yeah, we have to. Do we install this? Um.
Just have
All
cursor
right.
look at the output
Oh,
and
so
fix it.
smart. Yeah. Yeah. Help me fix this. Sometimes it's like I got to train my brain to go there first.
But by doing that, you train your brain to forget about how you're actually
That's
supposed to
true.
build applications. So
That's so true. It's also kind of like dangerous. It was just like I'm just gonna run this, you know.
right, I never
I
run it
don't.
within the panel because I
Yeah,
like to see the output. But
I don't think that's right. Actually, let me find the functions same link dependencies. Let's share my screen as I dig around for it, but I must not have done this search the right way or done the install the right way. Um, check out the docs. Yeah. Um, okay, this is all. Where is the? Let me ask ChatGPT. How do I install dependencies for Chainlink functions in my Forge contract? Oh, one, didn't mean to call you. It's gonna think forever.
you there, Mike? You seem to have frozen up. Never mind.
Oh, oh yeah, I'm
Frozen in
there.
thought. Okay.
um,
I built a tool where
I
you can
might.
copy paste the contract and instantly deploy to base Apolia or mainnet. That's cool.
Oh,
That's in the chat.
nice.
I
Copy
assume
paste
it's
the
like
contract
a
instantly deploy.
yeah. I wonder if it's like a UI web UI that you can just paste into a text area.
Yeah, that's nice. Um, I'm just looking because I feel like I don't want the examples. I want the um. How the heck do you download this thing?
Sorry, I
That
was in another tab when you were pulling this up. What are you looking to do?
I'm looking to install the dependencies for this, and I thought I did that already with like npm.
Contracts in the contract library.
Yeah. would NPMI do the trick? Oh my gosh. Try that one more time.
That's how I've always installed like OpenZeppelin and stuff. So,
Yeah. And I don't think there's like no file found. I mean, oh, you know what? Sometimes with Forge, you need like this mapping file for it to remappings. Yeah, I have to like add. I don't know if that's like my computer being messed up or what, but like,
can you go back to cursor? You have the chain link website showing right now.
oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Um, what I just wanted to do didn't work. But like you have like this remappings file sometimes, and I gotta check my boxes if I had it there as well. Remappings.txt. I did. I did have it there. So it looked like this. Okay, at Chainlink is what we want. Okay, now we're getting actual problems, not
New
just
errors. That's good.
dependencies. Yeah, yeah. Cannot be applied to types and addresses.
So did you
Okay.
change the game score Oracle to a
I
instance?
did. Yeah, we need to cast it to an address. Great. Okay. Now we are cooking here. And then thought we already did that. This is just we don't even need that anymore. Okay. Uh yeah, this whole thing is going to be rewritten anyway for the finalization part, so I'm not even really that
Yeah.
concerned with it. Oh, for God's sakes. Ugh, this I'm in like this like suggestion mode where it's like okay, great. Did that. Go back to our thing. It's like I love like just like coding in general. It's like you have to like do 10 things before you can do the thing you want to do.
Yeah. Like that Malcolm in the Middle gif. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's Hal. He's like fixing a drawer that's squeaking, and then he pulls out the drawer, and it like the hinge breaks. So then he has to fix the hinge, and then he goes to the garage to get a screwdriver, and the light's broken. And like it's just like recursive back all the way to like the initial task.
It's so true. It's like terrible. I don't yeah.
You've got to have like a large like working stack memory to be a programmer to remember the original thing you were doing.
Right. What the heck was I getting into in the first place? All right, we're almost there though. I just need to make types out of these contracts. So use type chain to make types out of my smart contracts. See if it gets this right. All right, I don't know if that's true or not. Yeah. How did I um let's do turn it. Thing is, it's like if it's not gonna
That file path, right?
yeah, like I don't think I have type chain installed at all. Um let's just ask cursor. But this is actually something I want to get to with all right, only hard hat's gonna do it. That's not great, but um like we can make really nice types out of the deployed contracts and then use those in the UI.
That's cool.
Yeah. Um okay. Did this make did it just worked. Great. Okay. So now the we're gonna make this the I think the first thing we need to do is make the NFTs. Okay. I'm just gonna tab through this. NFTs deployed, and then this is the game score oracle, and then we don't have the concept of like this contract reader, which is something I did in my last game. This will be the NFT address and the game score Oracle address, and I think that's everything we needed. And yeah, tournament manager, tournament. We just rename it to tournament manager. Heading through. All right, now we don't need any of this, and I think that should be everything, and we'll just automatically verify them. Okay, cool. So one thing I do need for this is I do need my API key for verifying the data or verifying the contracts on chain, and I need my private key for actually doing the transaction. So I'm just going to stop this for a second while I add those to an env file, which is, typically actually not how I do these things. Typically, I'll use like a tool, kind of like the tool that Haas mentioned. I like using, there's like a third web CLI, and then it just takes you to like a dashboard, and you just like connect your wallet and deploy from there. But when it comes to making multiple contracts with dependencies on each other and functions you have to call, this is typically the way I do it. So let me just see what happens if it. Yeah.
Yeah, so when we run the script, we'll be able to run it against Sepolia, but also like just run it locally against like a local hard hat or foundry.
Yeah, I think you could do that. I haven't done that in a while, probably since like
Do you just go
the
straight to testnet?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, okay, let me think about. I'm gonna. Where would I even put those? I think like I've ignored them in my other apps. I'm just trying to think of where. Um, is it like the is it like the hard hat? I know I'm trying to like think out loud before I just share my screen back up. I'm just trying to think of where. Let me share again and see if it tells me where things are missing, and then I can unshare, and then we'll be in good shape. PN, I think it's deploy base Polia. So let's just ask, so how do I deploy my contracts with deploy.ts file to base?
Thinking you're using hard hat.
Yeah. Don't I have like an alias with pnpm to do this? I think if I just go to the README. uh, Different README. Yeah, I was. This got all right, yeah, it's all right. We're just gonna use this. Maybe I didn't do it right. No, wrong. All right, we're just gonna use the one that gave us. Maybe it's base. Oh yeah,
It's hallucinating.
yeah.
See what-
It looks like it's doing something.
Yeah,
All right, it's deploying stuff. I wonder whose wallet is it using, because I didn't put anything in there.
there's no default.
Yeah, but like, so they have gas.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What was the in file that you just edited? Don't
Uh,
open it.
yeah, I'm
Don't
not gonna
open
open it. I'm not gonna
it.
open it, but isn't that one not in? I don't think it's in the Solidity.
Oh, it's not checked in. Yeah, it's like a dot example, but
Yeah. Oh, there's a dot example in the Solidity folder? I don't think there
no,
is.
it's a dot in for that dot example, but it's for I don't think it's
Yeah.
for like private keys,
Yeah.
but I didn't take
I think,
a super
yeah.
close look at it. So
Wow, and there must be an API key for the scanner somewhere here as well for like the block scan because it's verifying stuff.
Hmm. It's
It's
open
funny. It's
source.
like, yeah, when things work and you don't know why they work, I feel like that's 10 times scarier.
Oh, it scares me. Yeah,
Yeah, I'd rather it be broken and not know why than work and not know why. All right, Jesse just reposted that we're here,
man.
so you should
Floodgates
multi-stream
equals
Onchain.
opened.
Yeah,
Sims.com/Flocka.
what is that?
I don't know. That's from Trust Your Nuts.
Simps.com/Waka. Oh my god. Um,
Try that
I
in
can.
incognito mode.
And I'm just kind of going to just explain what this is doing for folks who might just be joining and not really understanding what's going on here. But we're deploying a few contracts that we just wrote to Base Apolia, and basically it's running through a script to deploy them, and it's spitting out the addresses of where it's deploying them, and it's also going to verify them on chain so we can read the code on the block explorer. So I think it's on its last contract. And I think that the script should give us like a nice table at the end. Yeah, it should give us a nice little table at the end of all the addresses of the contracts and stuff. So I think it takes like, yeah, it's doing 20 seconds before verifying the last contract just to give it some time.
I looked at Sims.com and it actually looks pretty sick.
Oh,
It's like a
really?
streaming platform. It looks kind of like Dracula, where you like buy a key, or maybe not. I can't remember which platform, but and you can like trade the keys to watch a streamer. Seems pretty cool.
Oh, that's
Mm,
cool.
Switch alternative,
Yeah, I'm always looking for other places to stream. So I think that would be
sure.
a so simps.com. Okay, it's good to know.
Is it on base though?
Good question. All right, so it does have so this isn't gonna fail for like, deployments because the deployments already worked, but the last it's having trouble verifying the last contract. I find that like this is sometimes hit or miss, a little flaky with the verifications, and if it's like a big contract, I think it has more of a chance of failing. Oh, this is actually erroring because it's already been verified. Um, okay. It's waiting 10 seconds. It'll try again. It'll probably fail again. I just want to get it to the last console log. But
Can you
then what I
drop
can
me that
do
Sepolia Basecamp link?
exactly, yeah. What I'll do is it's going to give me all the contracts. I'll just copy paste them, give them to you, um, and we'll have them. Uh, and if if it doesn't ever come back, I'll just copy these here. Oh, they're right here. Tournament manager, bracket NFT, and games for Oracle. There's only three, so I think that's all I care about. All right, let's take a look at which ones it's. Oh, it did them all. Great. It's nice and pretty. Cool. Um, let's take a look at like the bracket NFT one. I can share Chrome instead. This is Sepolia base scan. Share that. Okay. All right. So this is the contract that we just wrote. Now it's on chain, and we can use it. Um, and if we look at, I don't know if does it go back to the bracket? It doesn't. Oh no, it does. The tournament manager right here. It's set to 0. Um, that's not
What
good.
is what is that address? The payment address or what?
That's like who is allowed to mint.
Oh, is
Yeah,
that the burn address?
yeah. So it never gets set. So that's like something that we should definitely be setting. Um, So that's like another reason why I love these scripts is like now we have um, the NFT gets deployed, game score oracle function. All right, the tournament manager gets deployed, and then here what we should be doing is, yep, set the tournament manager in the game score oracle. Doesn't have that. No. How about in the bracket NFT? Yep. Um, I mean, the game score oracle should also have that because it's got to know once it gets the uh like the data back, it needs to know where to write that. And so here, I think it's probably going to be a relic of like copy paste, but is there a box contract or is there like a game or a contest contract? No. Uh Maybe it doesn't need that. Um yeah, actually maybe it doesn't need that. Okay. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to run that one more time. And this should set the tournament manager correctly every time we deploy it. But yeah, I mean, let's just like let that run and talk about like what we would do next. So you've got the addresses. Um, you wanted to populate like a list of all the tournaments. If we're really gonna say like maybe we don't even build that part out, even though it's like a part of the contract. Like maybe we just like have everyone play our game.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Mm.
Yeah. So
Build
maybe
out
that.
for it, but for now, just create one.
Yeah. Um,
Mm.
so like
And
what would be like a good like something to like give like hand off for you.
let's see. Can we go back to the tournament manager contract? And then I just want to see that read function we did down at the bottom. Yeah,
Hmm.
this guy. So I guess we can hard code if we're just doing one tournament, we could just hard code like the details for that tournament. It would be nice to have like a tournaments array that returns all the tournament IDs. That way we don't have to hard code it. But essentially, yeah, I want to be able to get a tournament and then I want to be able to see the people that have entered it. Um,
Yeah, I
I've
think.
even thought about
Mhm.
like invites and stuff like that, but that's probably too much complexity for now. But for now, just like who's entered a bracket. Mm. It would be nice to be able to see their picks at some point too. I don't know if that's something we can prioritize, but
Yeah, I think if we could do it like this, like instead of, and we shouldn't actually be relying on this function for that because someone could sell their bracket as an NFT. So what I think we actually should be doing is we should be looking at the NFT collection.
that's yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, like, great helpers for doing stuff like that, and then, maybe you don't, load all this data at once, maybe you should show, like, the NFT collection and, the owners of each NFT, and then if you wanna, like, see their bracket, you can click into them, and then when you do that, then you're reading the NFT
Right.
metadata, right?
Okay.
And then you're
Makes
rendering
sense.
the bracket. Um, yeah, so that's, an option. Uh Sidebar question here. Can you hear me when I mute or no?
I can still hear you right now. Yeah.
Uh, I was just well, I could just ask you out here in the open, doesn't matter. I'm just curious, like how much more do we want to do on the
Really up to
stream?
you. I probably max like 20, 30 minutes for me since we've been on for almost 2 hours now.
Yeah, yeah, that works. Um,
Let's get something to pass me off to. And like if I can call the contract, create tournaments, create entries in Sepolia, and then I can start wiring up the UI to read from that. I think that's a good place to bookmark it.
Great. Okay, cool. Let me give you the latest addresses. Do you want to be the one driving on the as we do UI stuff here, or do you want me to? I'm fine either way.
Um, yeah, I'm fine doing driving UI. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I have everything installed to be able to like, I don't need to deploy it. I just need to be able to like call the contract and um, read the data, like call functions, stuff like that.
Okay, let me do this. Let me push this up. I just pushed up the contracts branch. We could merge this in. Let me just open up like GitHub, just so that you have the same code I have. Also, like if it's easier, I'm happy to continue driving for this part, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Where the what were we just working on? What's it even called? MM, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, why can't I find MM? March Madness.
It is private, but I invited you to it. So yeah, you've
Okay.
pulled it down, right?
I
That's what
did,
you
yeah.
had open. Yeah.
I'm just trying to find like where I made a pull request earlier today. There we go.
Okay.
I'm just gonna merge this in if that's cool with you. I don't think there's actually
Yeah,
gonna be
go
any
for it.
conflicts. All right.
I've been pushing
Uh,
straight to main, so
hell yeah.
YOLO.
All right. First draft of our contracts. We know they compile and everything. It's great.
I can start PRing though, because it is nice to see diffs and
Yeah.
oh, so
Yeah. All right. Back to cursor. Oops. This is the PR. Hold up. Let me. There's just one thing I wanted to show you about the type safety of the contracts now that we have like addresses. What I'm going to do is for like the tournament manager, for example, there's this really cool feature. I think, yeah, our Next.js app is just at root. So there's this CLI tool, npx third web generate, and we are on Sepolia, which is 84532 slash this address. I already have this installed, but what this just did was this just made a file where now you can import this file because it's just full of types, and you can do things like I just go to like the index page and I import, say, what was one of the things like create tournament or something. You can import that as a function now directly from here, and this is like
like
the
referencing
solidity
the
function.
ABI.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
and it's great. You could just do like tx is equal to. I don't even think it's a promise. It's just like create tournament, and then like the contract. We would fetch the contract and all that other stuff. But like it's very type safe, and then you can just like pass data off. It's super nice. So we have that now. I could generate these and then just push up so that you have the type safety. And you don't need the CLI. Um, and I'm still on this contracts branch. Let me actually just like yeah, that's like a nifty tool. I think there's a type something that does the same thing. Um, so I guess and it might even be that under the hood. I don't even know.
You're just passing in the chain ID and then the contract address there, and then
Yep.
it's generating types. That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Um,
Is
all right.
there a reason? I mean, it seems like you could just reference something in your. Oh, I guess this is if you want to call a contract that you might not necessarily have locally
Yep.
pulled down, right?
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly. Um, okay. No, no, it's a
I guess the only
git.
problem with this is that if you're relying on that, then um, eventually once you've published a mainnet, like you just have to go and update those.
Yeah, and as long as your contracts actually don't change from their types,
Right.
then you actually wouldn't even need to.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, just forget, and it's easy enough to get started with. So we could start there. Uh, all right. So we've got the the types for the contracts up. Um, what else do
Yeah,
we
I
need to
would
do?
say like if in the main, just the main React component, just like call one of the functions to get the tournaments, just leave that in there, and then I can kind of take over from there in terms of
Cool.
rendering the data and stuff like that.
Great. Let's do it. So we'll just say like our tournament contract is going to be get contract. We have a client and a constant called client that we can use, and we have the chain is going to be called. That's also a constant called the third web chain, and then the address is actually something we should put in a constant that we could change later. Um, I hate having like random addresses everywhere.
Yeah. Would
Uh,
this be a personal in file thing, or would it be global?
we could just put it in the constants
Okay.
file. It's no big
So this is
deal.
just the contract address, right?
Yeah. And one thing that I like to do also is like make it a an object keyed by the chain.
Makes
So like
sense.
on yeah. And then what's the which one was the stay in
You
my
send it in
history,
Discord.
please?
Yeah, you put it in Discord if that's easier, but yeah,
Yeah, there we
happy
go.
to.
I'll just make them both that. Um cool. And then here we could just say it's yeah, exactly that. Cool. Well, oh, and it's is it gonna be okay, so let's just
Be nullable.
yeah, come
I
on.
think
Why
you
is that
got
not
the as const might be the issue.
yeah? Okay.
Or
I
go
thought that
back
was
to the definition. No, never mind. Just type that. Give it like
yeah, like we could do like a record
a
of
record.
a
Yeah,
number and address. Maybe that's what it wants. It wants addresses. And we just know that it's there. There we go. Okay, great.
good enough
And
now.
then yeah. And then the tournament itself, right? The data is like this. You could say tournament is equal to um there's like a get tournament function that we could pull in. Got the contract. We've got the tournament ID, which is just going to be 0.
We probably want
And
a name for it, like a display name.
like
The
just like
big
default
base
tournament.
basketball bracket brawl, something. I keep adding B alliterations to it the longer I work on this. So
Well, we just say like the default tournament ID. I know it's much more boring.
yeah.
All right. Okay. Um, and it's a promise. So we how do you like to do this? Do you like to use like use effects or whatever and like save it in state, or is there like a better way to do that if this thing's going to return a
That's fine for
promise?
now. I do have a bracket context that I created to like house all of the like bracket data and like the
Oh,
user selections and stuff. You could put it in there that way it's available across different views, but if you
it's
I
a
really just want to hear just to kind of have examples and then I can kind of go in and clean up all the
got it.
React
Okay.
stuff.
Okay. So we'll just for now we're just going to call this a tournament of type any, and then uh and we'll just set this in a use effect, and then don't do this at home, kids. I think this will just run in a gigantic loop forever. So
What
let's
is
just do
tournament?
this. The tournament is the contract. We want to just do a tournament contract. There we go. I think that's it.
Is that React stable, that tournament contract?
Yeah, this should only run, well, it's gonna run on every render,
Yeah, so you
right?
want to
So
that really
yeah,
needs to go in the use effect, right? And then
and
honestly,
just do
this
it on
use
load.
effect shouldn't have any, yeah, no dependencies.
Yeah. All right. How's that? And then here we can just log this out and just see what it looks like. And then let's just run this server locally and just take a look at what that looks like locally. It's actually not going to look like anything because we haven't created it.
Right. So we need to make the call time. So maybe a second script, or do you want to just do it manually?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to need to do it too often. I mean, like in the script when we do the deploy, we could say, hey,
Create your first tournament.
set the first one. Um, let me just grab that ID. And then we can write to it. Create tournament entry fee. We'll just do like small amount of ETH. Payment token will be the zero address Ethereum. And then the start time, I don't know, Unix timestamp, whatever this is, but just change this to like a
First
4.
argument is a uint 256.
Oh, right.
So you need like a GUI converter or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, you can just, all right. So let's do 1 and then add like,
Pricing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. All right. That should be fine. All right. And that didn't fail, or at least my wallet didn't tell me it was going to fail. So that's a good thing. In the meantime, it's already started. All right. Don't know why we're indexing for so long though. Cool. I wonder if like Block Scout has this. Oh yeah, Block Scout. Yeah. Okay. So did the thing successfully? The logs that we had emitted, we did tournament created, all this stuff. Great. And then here on the very first page, well, it hated that, but I don't know. Let's see. A lovely hydration error. It's not decode. Hmm. Um, oh,
Stay
it's
first
that's
minutes.
me. Yeah, this I'll share cursor right now, but that to me tells me that the it's not finding a contract at that address, and I think I know why. Here, I'll fire up cursor chain in our constants file. Is it set to base? It is. Let's just set that to base Apolia. Put base on the end there, and then go back to localhost. It was trying to read, I think, at the address on the wrong chain, and that's why I messed up. All right. I don't want to be here. I want to be at the home page.
You widen your window so you don't show that I haven't made this responsive.
Yo. I think one thing is you're not actually seeing
I see
my dev
Chrome or your
tools.
browser.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
I'm
not
not seeing
actually
the
seeing
touch
my.
tools now.
All right. I wonder how I can actually get the dev tools. If I pop it out and I share the pop out, can I do that? Window. Out. So we're actually getting the tournament back.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. So we're actually getting that data back.
So we get
So
the entry amount, what's the one address again? That's the payment. So it's ETH that you're paying. The
yes,
currency. Okay.
yeah. And then what are those other things? Let me check the contract real quick. What is that?
2 through 5. 5 is probably entries.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Get tournament entry fee, the payment token, the start time, the prize pool and the number of entries, and then the winners. But the winners, yeah, the winners we don't have a good way of setting right now. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Sweet.
But at least the data is coming back.
Yeah, for sure. I would say from here, like I think a name would be nice, just like a display name, and then a a some sort of function I can call to get the NFTs that have entered this, so I can start rendering the pics.
Yeah. So I'll give you that too right now before I push this up.
Okay.
Show this real quick. That's actually not too bad, and we actually have a helper for that as well. So we're gonna do it here anyway. NFTs, set NFTs, and then the response NFT contract will be get contract. The thing is, we need the NFT address. Yeah, great. And go to that table. Bracket NFTs, great. And then, wow, it already knows what I'm trying to do. It's amazing.
Magic.
There is like a helper here. Do you actually want the NFTs? I mean, we can get like the owners. I'll do both. I'll do
Yeah,
both.
both really, because I want to show
Yeah.
the address and some of the pics.
Yeah. So let me just take a quick peek here. Just cheating and looking at the uh it actually might be a hook. Use NFTs, maybe. Let's see. Let me do it up here. Or use NFTs. Use owner. Doing a search. NFTs.
See any hooks in here?
Yeah, I think we've got get NFTs from third web slash ERC 721. Is that a thing? Extensions slash ERC 721. Get NFTs. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I think there's like yeah, start
Like
whatever it
paginated.
is. Yeah. Start at 0. End is it out to 100? Okay. Yeah. Let's just do 10. And then we'll have owners as well.
What does that void keyword do?
Oh, this is just something I have in the as a linter here, but like it's saying like this is not awaitable.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. Um, Now we actually might need this actually might not work. Can I for each token ID gets an owner. Okay. And then here you give it what are the options? Contract start and count. Okay. That might not work, and I'll tell you why in a sec, but let's just I'll put Chrome back up.
We don't have any entries yet, so it won't work, at least for that reason.
You're right. We could just quickly make an entry, or it'll probably be a little bit weird. Oh God, I have to know exactly how much. All right, don't worry about it. Let's just look to see that
We can
it's
do
not
that.
blowing
Yeah,
up.
we'll do that later.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Honestly, I think we're
but
good here. But if
yeah,
we
I
want
agree.
to like create an entry and then sort of test out that NFT function later, I think that's all I need.
Okay,
And I can hack
cool,
around on it too.
perfect.
We need to do it
Yeah,
again, Mike. I had fun.
yeah. This was awesome. This was a good time.
Yeah.
I'll
Go for it.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Thanks for stopping by. Anyone who's still here, hope you had fun. We're gonna work on this. No promises that we get it done in time for March Madness, but we're gonna do our best. We also have, we also have other commitments and
We
responsibilities
have
and
real
stuff, but we'll
jobs.
see. Yeah, we'll see how far we get.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a reason
but
we're
this
doing
was
this on President's Day. So
exactly. All right, cool. Take care, everybody.
cool. See you, Mike.